Laxmi Anand Scott. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining me. I'm talking about the methods that have really helped me recover from sports injury that I got in, I think it was 2000, and it was a bike injury. I was riding a stationary bike at that time to stay in practice for the winter, and my back went out as far as I knew. And straight away developed from that sciatica, which is a pain that runs down the back of the leg. And pretty much from there on, for the next, I suppose it was about 14, 15 years, well, till the present. I'm recovering now. In 2017, I'm pretty much 95% better due to a combination of therapies and practices. I've gone to chiropractors and acupuncturists and massage physical therapists and doctors. The only thing I didn't take was pain medicine, but I was recommended to have fusion in my neck, and they really couldn't find out what was wrong. So I got to the point in 2011, 2010 or 11, where I was having to take the little electric carts that are in the shopping stores, in the Walmart and things like that, or in the grocery stores. I was having to take those around to do my shopping because the pain had gotten so bad. And not only that, but the muscles and my legs were starting to seize up. Just not only was it painful, but they were seizing up to where the muscles would get so tight, and I had no idea what was going on. I was pretty desperate when I went to a campus to finish my bachelor's degree, and I was concerned that I couldn't even make it to the classroom, but fortunately the classroom was right outside my window and right outside the dorm room practically. I was very fortunate, but still I could not make it to the cafeteria, and they didn't have disability services around the campus. So I was kind of, and I had to go away from home so that my husband couldn't help me. So I was really at the end of my rope, and one thing that I did was I started this yoga routine, and it was yoga for the spine, and it was it really helped more than anything I had tried at that point. I could start to be able to walk again, and even maybe jog a little bit, and maybe even go to the gym, but I still was not able to do those things to any kind of major extent. I could only walk maybe a mile, and see, I really wanted to do sports again. I was really missing sports. I fell into a deep depression, and I was actually classified as disabled with it in 2002, and that's how much of a part of my life sports was. And so it was really important for me to be not only just somewhat functional, but be able to engage in sports for my mental health even, and just for the enjoyment of life. It wasn't enough to be able to walk around the store or to be able to go on a short walk. I had given up any hope of going into the mountains again, which is where I grew up, hiking into the mountains. And growing up there, I really didn't, that wasn't one of my passions or anything, but I came to the conclusion that I would never walk very far into the woods again. And that's a very sobering thought. I was literally old. I might as well have been 100, 105 years old with the condition that I was in. And that was very sad for me because I was practically immobile. Like I said, I could walk some distances with the yoga, and it helped quite a bit. But I would say that I was still maybe 50% of maybe even less, 30%, 40% of what my capacity was before. Maybe less, because I could only walk maybe a mile without everything seizing up. I mean, it just depended. And so I still had significant pain, and I was not without pain. And I couldn't do sports for sure. Which I love to dance. I love to play tennis, and I love to be active. And that was just not something that was going to be, I was giving up on that. Well, the yoga had helped me significantly, so I started going to yoga classes. And interestingly, I found out like a lot of yoga classes, like I would end up with more pain afterwards. And I really didn't understand this. I didn't really know what was going on. However, I get certified as a yoga instructor, and I ended up going to India and going through 2 months of training there. Well, what happened was I was going to stay a full 3 months, but I had become so my knees had become so wobbly, if you will, and in pain. And again, the problems started, and my back was killing me from the training. And I was just getting in more pain and being, from my ability to stretch was actually reducing. My limberness was reducing as I was there, not increasing. When I got there, I could do more forward bends, which I've learned, that, it's really not something that somebody with my type of body structure should be doing. But my flexibility reduced. And I actually had to come back from India early because I just couldn't walk anymore. The pain in my knees was so great, and the back in my back was so great, and they were literally wobbly, and I didn't understand. I've never had knee problems, so I ended up coming back early, and I actually had to be wheeled through the airports. I actually had to have handicap services all the way home. And for months, I was in a lot of pain. It got worse actually when I got back. I couldn't do anything. And I was just flabbergasted. I should be healthier than ever, but no, I'm not. I was incapacitated. Then I happened to find, in searching for solutions, I happened to find a video that was made by another yoga instructor who had similar experiences, and he was very limber to start with, and then he was just increasingly in pain. Well, he went to Caring Medical Clinic, and he went through a program, or their therapy, which is called prolotherapy. And it was just like the light bulbs went on. He told my story. And what I found out is that certain people have what's called ligament laxity. It may be due to genetics, lack of proper sleep, like REM, deep sleep, so that's when the body repairs itself. And I definitely have always had, as far back as I can recall, sleep kind of disorders. It can be due to digestive problems and lack of proper nutrition absorption. And I had all that. I had gluten sensitivity. And I also noticed that my mother and my children have the same kind of sudden, like instantaneous flexibility. And it's like, oh, watch this. I can throw my leg up here and over my head. And that's great when you're young. And, that looks really great in a yoga class. But later, coming back home a couple hours later, I was miserable when I would do those things. And I would be in extreme pain. And then I'd stretch some more. And then the pain would get worse later. It felt good while I was doing it, but not later. Well, Dr. Hauser of Caring Medical and Dr. Special of Caring Medical pretty much told my story. If when you get on their website, caringmedical.com, and look at the books that they have and the information that they have, it told my story. And when I went talk to him about, after I did my research, they explained to me what nobody ever told me before. And all the doctors and everything that I had seen, I mean, doctors that do surgery on the spine, and nobody even told me about the sacroiliac joint. I had to figure that out on my own, but Dr. Hauser and Dr. Special knew exactly what I was talking about and confirmed more what I was experiencing. And the ligament laxity problem, that somebody like me doesn't need to be stretching out the ligaments and tendons of my body. And I kind of figured it out with some of their information and other information I found out, but they confirmed corroborated what my research said and what I felt in my body. I got the treatment. And I've had a few treatments, 4, 5, or 6 on my knees. My knee has only had one treatment, and it's pretty much was 85% better after one treatment. Now, other parts of my body that have had long-standing issues, like the sacroiliac joint, the hip, the sciatica, the hip areas, where my hips were in such pain. I've had a few treatments, and I went from being able not to even walk, not a mile, to being able to walk 6+ miles, walk, jog. And not only that, I started playing tennis, and then I started playing racquetball. On the beach. I started walking on the beach. My husband and I started walking together, and it was such a blessing. It's such a blessing. We thought we'd never have long walks together again. And I started slowly, but then I started, getting my strength back and going, wow, it's so amazing. There's other things that I had benefits from too that I never knew that prolotherapy could fix. I actually had, for instance, like the groin muscle somehow it got pulled. It got the tendons in the groin got pulled. And maybe from trying and overworked and being so tense, from trying to support my hip, that it easily, when they get so tight, it's easy to pull them. So it got pulled. And it may have been loose for a long time, I don't know, but I had to have the shots in that area worked on. And this is kind of personal and sensitive, and I don't like really revealing this, but to help other people out there, other women who are going through this and are possibly taking medication for something like this, this is kind of hard, but for the benefit of everyone, it helped with uh, incontinence that was developing as a middle-aged woman. Yes, I'm middle-aged, and it actually helped with that. And I didn't know it was going to do that. Not only did the muscles all around my thigh at the top of the joint start being in such excruciating pain, but it was connected to incontinence. And I was getting, that was hard because I was afraid to go too far from a bathroom. I hate talking about this, but it is very important. It's a very important part of life. And, yes, it's a sensitive issue, but there's so many things that are connected to this that a lot of people don't know about. This is cutting edge alternative therapy that, insurance doesn't, why isn't it covered? That's my question. I think with a lot of insurances that it is, from what I understand, but this should be like a central therapy. It's fabulous. I'm so excited for a new lease on life. And yes, it's one of the tools in my toolkit that I also, use really good nutrition, which Dr. Hauser talks about in his book, to repair the tissues, and it's so important. Good sleep is so important. I also am an energy worker, and I use energy work because it's just massage is also very helpful, but it kind of relieves the pain. It gets everything kind of unlocked. And, if the muscles are tense, it will kind of help with moving things along. Yoga. I've come up with a yoga that does not stretch out the ligaments and tendons. And it works and it is complementary to the prolotherapy. It strengthens the back and the spine. I encourage you to look for that kind of yoga if you're doing anything like that. Please, listen, if you go to Dr. Hauser or any prolotherapy doctor, please don't undo the therapy, which I did a couple of times, I have to admit. But take care to let that therapy take effect over the 4 to 6 weeks, particularly after you receive a treatment, and don't undo it. You will be so happy. You can go and get the therapy, and you don't have to do anything really. You can just let it work. Eat well, sleep well. Oh, that's so tough, right? But it's just, they're really good people. They're, if you ask me, they're very spiritual people, very kind. It's a humanitarian service, and what a gift if you're lucky enough to find this. The one I went to, the clinic I go to, is in Fort Myers. It's 2 hours away I'm near Fort Lauderdale, and it's 2 hours away. And what I found was they have the best prices, and they do this all day long. They don't do other things. They are talented and skilled in what they're doing. They do this all day long. That's all they do. So it's worth the trip. Even if you had to fly in. They also have a place in Illinois, from what I understand, but I'm down here, and I'd find a way to get there, because this is what they do. And, it's just really a gift. It's wonderful. I'm very excited, and I can't wait to go in for my next treatment to see what happens after that, So I'm already competitively playing racquetball again. I'm just so ecstatic about it. It's a new lease on life. I've been out exercising today. I even have my rackets. I have a collection. See, I've got a paddleball racket, and ta-da! I mean, Life is good. Life is good. So maybe I'll have a video of me playing at some point. But people are just, they're, you know, when I tell them that I was injured, they can't believe it. They just can't believe that I was injured for, 14 years. They look at me, they're like, you must have always been athletic. And just goes to show you what some good solutions and they have a miraculous effect. So keep the faith, keep hopeful. Just keep searching for the solutions in your life and make a commitment to follow through, because I'll tell you what, is worth it. There is nothing that replaces health. If you have your health, you have everything. Okay, well, God bless. God bless the Caring Medical Clinic and the staff. They are very kind and they're so helpful and doing really good work. And remember, to have a good life, start by having a great day. Bye for now. That's all I've got. Well, I've got more. Maybe I'll have updates. Okay. Bye now. Bye, Caring Medical. Thank you, everybody. You all are awesome.